On mute. How about now? Hey, Wrestling with MMA. I'm just messing around, man. But thanks for checking it out, and thanks for letting me know the mic was off. Yeah, I'm just checking things out. I want to see, trying to grow the show a little bit. I've been thinking for a while to maybe do a multi-stream with Facebook. You still can't hear me? I can hear it on my phone. Okay, now you can. Yeah, so I'm just checking things out. I'm trying to do things a little bit different. Just want to do better. Want to make the show better. Pretty interesting week. It's a good week if you're Nick Aldis. So much stuff has been going on. Let's see. Hey, Lamb. Yes, the pre-show is still going to happen. I'm just testing stuff out right now. We're just seeing what I can get away with. You know what I mean? Yes, we'll still be doing the pre-show later. It's interesting. I'm like I said, I'm just testing things out to make sure that they're working. Now, I'm seeing a comment pop up and I didn't see where it came from. Jeff Johnson. What's up, Jeff? So, I've been thinking a lot about my memories of the NWA. No, Lamb, the pre-party will still be a regular time. But I've been thinking a lot lately about my introduction to the National Wrestling Alliance. Now, you guys may or may not have heard me tell the story before when I was a kid. We were one of the first families to get cable on the blocks. Now, I grew up in Southern California, and I didn't know then, I do know now, that professional wrestling wasn't just the World Wrestling Entertainment. It wasn't just the WWF at the time. Even in LA, we had a very strong indie promotion. One of the last strongholds of the old bygone era, the NWA Los Angeles, or Grand Olympic Wrestling, whatever you want to call it, wrestling from the Grand Olympic Auditorium. That stuck around until about 82, 83. Now, of course, I was just a little guy. I didn't know what wrestling really was. In fact, when I started thinking about wrestling and remember watching it regularly, it was probably around Saturday night's main event leading up to WrestleMania 2. Later, we'd go and watch WrestleMania on VHS, and I think we ordered every WrestleMania from like 2 till about 13, and I was really consistent a WrestleMania family, like something that we yearly did, annual tradition. And so my exposure to the NWA was limited. I didn't really start getting into the NWA until we got cable, which was, I don't know, probably around 86 or 87. So they had already retired the 10 pounds of gold. Our AWA Remco figures had that belt. I mean, those were from 85, 86, but they had that toy 10 pounds of gold. But by the time I was really getting into WCW, or at the time the Jim Crockett Promotions, NWA Wrestling, they were using the 10 pounds of gold already. They still had Arn still had the television title. Barry still had the U.S. championship. But I mean, at that point, the 10 pounds of gold was phased away. And I plan to do something more on this later. But the NWA, the first time I saw that title again was like I guess it was like 98, 99. When UFC started around. I guess that was 97. And I remember watching the Octagon, watching Dan Severn, who I was a high school wrestler, so seeing a guy who was emulating or wrestling in a style that I used in high school, I did a few Greco-Roman tournaments, so seeing Dan Severn using the same moves that I did, double leg takedowns to the ground and pound, or the suplexes. I mean, I really got into it, and seeing Dan the Beast Severn there with the 10 pounds of gold. Take it easy wrestling with the MMA. Seeing Severn with the gold was a big deal to me. And so that was the first time I saw the 10 pounds of gold up close. Well, not up close, I guess. I'm going to get to the up close in a minute. But that's the first time I saw that title, the historic championship belt that meant so much. To the NWA was with Dan Severn in the Octagon. It wouldn't be until about, I guess, 2001 when I was at UPW's Ultimate Pro Wrestling. Ultimate Pro Wrestling was that was Rick Bassman's wrestling promotion here in Southern California. Dave Marquez talked about it on my podcast, and UPW was kind of where a lot of the wrestlers broke out to the next level. So, Samoa Joe was a former UPW world champion, but he would, that's where he kind of started establishing his name. Before it was just mostly indies. That was before he got to Ring of Honor. That was that middle period where he was wrestling in 0-1. They were also the promotion, of course, that was known for discovering John Cena. And here's where the list goes. Guys who, kind of spent some time in the WWE. Horseshoe, Luther Reigns, Nathan Jones, of course, Frankie Kazarian, Christopher Daniels, the aforementioned Samoa Joe. They would bring in talent from the WWE. So, in fact, the show that got me to the first one was with the Hardy Boys with Lita. but they also brought in Edge and Christian. They brought in some of the talents from ECW, like Chris Chetty and Amish Roadkill. They brought in the Outsiders. They brought in LOD. Like, it was such an eclectic group of wrestlers. A lot of the guys that you see now in the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood or Championship Wrestling from Arizona, guys like Hawaiian Lion, the Navajo Warrior. Who else? I mean, I saw RVD there. The Blue Meanie. I mean, it was really wild, like some of the talents that we saw in that little place. But, Rick Bassman was not only looking to get his guys in the WWE, but he's trying to get his talent in Japan, and they forged a working relationship with 01 Wrestling, specifically Shinya Hashimoto, who was at the time the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. In fact, there was a title that they designed that was created in Southern California that is still part of 01's Junior Heavyweight Championship. It was supposed to be an international junior heavyweight title that covered UPW, the NWA, 01, and kind of all points in between. It was like it was going to be, I think, the title that was supposed to launch Brian Kendrick into 01. But that was something else completely. Before that, we had talents from 01 kind of invade UPW. Specifically, Hashimoto showed up. Hashimoto showed up as a heel, holding the 10 pounds of gold, and basically made a mockery of the talents of UPW. Now, UPW's main guy was Tom Howard. Tom Howard wrestled in AAA as KGB, and some of the independents early in Southern California as KGB or Zuma the Surfer. But he was a very accomplished professional wrestler, was head trainer for UPW, but he was also a bit of an MMA fighter, had limited success wrestling for Pride and fighting in Japan. But he was the main guy, but everyone knew Samoa Joe was the most talented guy, and they were trying to forge this relationship between 01 and UPW. So that was the first time I was there live to see the 10 pounds of gold in person. Now, I didn't get to talk to Hashimoto. I certainly didn't get to go take a photo with him or anything like that. But it was the first time I saw that 10 pounds of gold live and in color. And, that night, I mean, I went home and I started researching the NWA, found out about Corino, found out about, obviously, Severn, and put everything together, how Severn held the title, lost it to Ogawa. Ogawa forfeited the belt, and then Rapata had it, and Rapata lost it to Sabu, back to Rapata, back to Corino, and Gary Steele's somewhere in that mix as well. But that was the first time I got to see the title in person. The second time I saw the NWA World's title was when AJ Styles was wrestling in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Now, he had brought the X Division title multiple times out here, but it was kind of cool to see the 10 pounds of gold when he brought it out. So that's the first time I ever saw the NWA title. And Jeff Johnson from Wrestling Sound Off says his first memory is with TNA, and he's watching on Facebook Live. And yeah, I mean, TNA was pretty cool. And I do believe... Okay, cool, that works. All right. And it was pretty cool to see that title, like I said, with AJ Styles, and of course, TNA. That's when a lot of people saw that title, because up until that point, the NWA had very limited exposure. Of course, Severn brought the belt to the WWE, but he really didn't defend it. There was rumor that he had a title match with Shooter Jones, but after watching the match, they made it very clear that it was a non-title match. Adam Pierce is watching. Adam, I don't know why you're here, but thank you, man. I appreciate you. You could see that before my camera pooped out. We have this beautiful photo of Scrap Iron Adam Pierce. Look at this guy. Look at that one. And the cool thing about that is that photo was from a friend of mine, Corey Lockwood, And I was able to have the 5-time World Heavyweight Champion get me a copy of that signed. So I think that's pretty dope, and I don't want it to fall down back there. But yeah. So what are your earliest memories of the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship? You know, it's kind of funny that, you know, Adam popped his head in here, but you know, there's this little kind of I don't want to call it a feud. I don't want to even call it a war of words. It's mostly two guys just showing respect and admiration for each other. But you know, somebody on Twitter had mentioned that they would love to see a Nick Aldis versus Adam Pearce match. If only they had a time machine. And Aldis was quick to point out that Scrap Iron Adam Pearce looks like he could still go. And guys, I don't want to get ahead of myself, and Adam will be the first one to tell you it ain't ever going to happen, but Pearce could still go for sure. No doubt about it. And I think, honestly, if somebody were able to come up with a large sum of money and somehow talk to the WWE to get that match, that'd be the best World's Heavyweight Championship match you could hope for. Period. Nick Aldis is great. Nick Aldis is amazing as a World's Heavyweight Champion. But don't sleep on Scrap Iron Adam Pearce. Don't sleep on the 5-time World's Heavyweight Champion. Don't forget that that's the man that took the title to Germany, to Mexico, to Canada, to Australia, without a big company behind him. This was all through his hustle and hard work. You know, he headlined arena shows for David Marquez. He defended that title in Ring of Honor. He won that title in Ring of Honor. I mean, he also lost the title in Ring of Honor, but that doesn't matter. So again, this was just me testing equipment. It's funny that you guys are even here watching. But you know, the NWA is coming up with their with the United Wrestling Network. Excuse me, I got ahead of myself. The United Wrestling Network Primetime Live will be airing on September 15th on Fight TV, and it will feature our World's Heavyweight Champion, the National Treasure Nick Aldis, taking on Mike Bennett. Now, this will be the first time that an NWA World's Heavyweight Championship has been defended in the modern era where there was no audience. I mean, unless Dave Marquez wants to invite me to the show. But yeah, just wanted to test this out, see how it looks. And so far it looks pretty good. And so, anyways, if anyone's still watching, I see there's 4 of you, so I know you're watching. Anyways, that's funny. Oh, that's just a notification. So we'll be back live in about 30 minutes to do the actual pre-party. And of course, this pre-party, we actually have a reason to pre-party now because, again, the Primetime Live starts in 2 weeks. We are going to talk NWA. We're going to talk about Nick Aldis. We're going to talk about the 10 pounds of gold. We're going to talk about Thunder Rosa kicking in the goddamn door into AEW. But most importantly, guys, we're going to talk NWA, and you're all welcome to join us. We'll be on YouTube, we'll be on Facebook, we'll be on Twitch, and we'll be back in about 30 minutes, so we'll see you soon.